Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Fantastic. Yeah, I want some energy. Come on, give me some shot. I don't take those my Red Bulls or whatever it is. The energizer. I want the energy from you. Just give me a shot because yours is much more healthier. So I want to talk about business stories that sell. How to tell amazing stories that inspire action and close deals. Stories are so powerful. A couple of years ago, when I was around that was in the year 2001. So that's what, 22 years ago. I was alone in the US. I was doing an internship in New York. And there was this program. It was for one of the Tony Robbins associates. It was called, I believe, Success Unlimited. I went to this event. It was $1,500. I had $20 on my bank account. And I wanted to really attend this program. So I went and appeared, put on my suit, and said, look, can you allow me to attend? And then I can pay you once I learn these skills. So it was about sales. Once I learn these skills, and then I'm able to share these skills at the workplace, and then once I close deals, I'll pay you. They said no. So I started talking to different people. I talked to I said, what if you had only 2 hours, if you had less than 1 hour to get $1,500, what would you do? I started asking people. And then I told them, look, I really want to learn these skills so that I can go back to the Uganda and share these skills and impact society. And lo and behold, I shared my story so powerfully that one lady, I will never forget her name, she's called Helga Pate. She pulled out her credit card and said, look, charge this young man's fees, costs on this card. I closed the deal in less than 5 minutes. A stranger, never seen me, didn't know me, but managed to buy my story and all that. Recently, just 1 week ago, about 2 weeks ago, I heard about this other gentleman, 2 young men. They started a business, and they're at a stage whereby they started from scratch. They managed to get investors. And I was like, how did they get these investors? These are people who didn't have money at all. But just imagine, let's say this hotel where we are at Royal Suites, Ugolobe right now. Just imagine, rather than owning this whole hotel, very few people can own that. But what if someone said, oh, I will sell you a hotel room, and then every month the proceeds, I'll make sure that I give you 70%, then the other 30% is for marketing and management. So that's the concept they are selling. I was so inspired. I was like, these are young men. Shami, you need to meet them. These are young men. One is 30 years old. I was so impressed with their story that I started marketing them. You see how I'm already even marketing them? Hello? Have you noticed that? So why is it important to have a story behind your product or service? There are a couple of reasons that I want to highlight. Now, number one is people are able to relate to it. For example, I know when I recall, for example, when I was starting out in this business, that was 2003. I was 26 years old. And I remember placing an advert in the papers saying, motivational speaker, call this number. And because in Uganda we didn't have that many I mean, the industry was non-existent then, literally. I received, the first phone call I received was, hello? Kati sebo ogw'omuzindaalo gusobola kutuuka bantu bameka? Now, those of you who don't understand Uganda, so the phone call I received was, Madam, just come this side. The phone call I received was, so for that public address system, how many people can it reach? So I was like, oh my God, I've spent money on an advert. Recall the other time, and then I remember one time my guardian going to him, had just started out to be self-employed, and I said, can you lend me 50,000? We are running out of rent. So it was Joseph and I who were renting. It was 100,000 a month. So I failed to even raise 50,000. And I'm telling him I'm being self-employed, motivational speaker, okay, self-employed. And then he's like, why don't you get a real job? Why don't you get a real job? And mind you, I had a temptation of someone who was willing to pay me 2.5 million shillings a month. And I said no. But here is, I'm struggling to pay 50,000, building a dream. And my God is like, why don't around? Out of curiosity, how many of us can relate to moments while starting out, like you have to make your name, like you have to announce, like people cannot, like you're almost invisible? Has that ever happened to any of us? Like, out of curiosity, how many of us can relate to something that I shared in that story? How many of us can relate to something in that story that I shared? By show of hands, just be honest. Like something. Put up your hand straight. Put up your hand straight. Fantastic. You see, 90% of the room. So stories, and by the way, by me sharing that, how many of you feel like you know me a little better than, say, an hour ago? No, 10 minutes ago, actually. How many of you feel like you know me better now than 10 minutes ago? By show, just be honest. Just be honest. There you go. Let me tell you the trick, ladies and gentlemen. We know from reality that people buy from those they know, like, and trust. You've ever heard the KLT factor? It's a common thing. The people they know, like, and trust. So now, but now, before you like someone, you have to know them first, isn't it? Before you trust them, you have to first know them. Yes or yes? So, and one of the best ways to get people to know you is by you sharing your what? Story. So when you share your story, now by me sharing your story, you could realize, so Ethan, so what I'm going through is not strange. Even Ethan has gone through it. So that creates an automatic bond. Are we together? That tip I've just given you alone, just to bring the awareness of why story, that alone is priceless. The other reason is that it captures attention. You were paying attention because, sorry about that. You were paying attention because stories, you see, a story is yours, no one else. No one knew. I mean, when I was in New York, it was just me. So you have to pay attention. Okay? People pay attention to stories. Because remember, like in copyright, like when you're writing a sales letter, they say, okay, your job is to make sure that they read the first line. If they don't read the first line, they want to go to the second line. If they don't read this, they want to go to the third line. So yesterday, I went for the Hillsong London event. But before they came on stage, they brought in some, like 1, 2, like they had to bring in some attention-grabbing thing, like as if a plane is going to take off, and we are all like, and we even started counting 5, 4, all of us 3, 2, 1. I mean, before attention. Okay? Because if you don't grab their attention, they won't listen to your story. I mean, they won't listen to your product or service. So when you share a story, you grab their attention, then it adds credibility to your offering. So, so when you so when you share a story, then people feel like, okay, so this person knows what they are talking about. It's this product has credibility. Like when Peter Ikodoyo was sharing his story of the chef, I was like, he must be having authentic food. Do you remember that? His story? So it adds credibility. The other thing is it puts personality to the offering. So there's a personality behind something. I'll give you an example. Like one day I would want to travel Virgin. Is it Virgin Airways? Virgin Airlines. I mean, Richard Branson has a very amazing personality. I remember even reading his book, Losing My Virginity. I'm like, hey, this guy. I mean, he's so, he's that wild and deep and interesting. I believe he's one of the most exciting billionaires, if not the most exciting. He has a personality. So he has hundreds of companies, by the way. He has a stake in hundreds of companies because of his personality. So when you put personality into a product or service, it becomes very exciting. Okay? And we can share the link for people to share. Okay? All right. Does this make sense? Why we should look at stories? Yes? Yes or no? I'm not hearing yes or no. Or I should say yes or yes. All right, cool. So now let's talk about core principles to follow before I give you some frameworks on storytelling. Okay, some core principles. Just a moment. So the first core principle that is very critical is when you're sharing a story is purpose and direction. You don't just, what's the word? You don't just share a story. It must have a purpose. Why are you sharing that story? So when you're thinking about your product or service, you need to think, okay, where do I want people to go? What do I want them to think about? What do I want them to reflect about? If it's like my brother here went into avocado, so how do you want people to think about avocado? Do you want them to think about it in terms of a health benefit? Do you want to think about it in terms of avocado helping them to be more productive? Do you want them to think about avocado in terms of them improving their skin tonation? Do you want them to think about avocado as a hair product? So there are so many possibilities when you're telling a story. And therefore, depending on which direction, then it will determine which story to choose. Am I communicating? Hello? You don't just say, oh, Ethan said storytelling, and then you start telling an irrelevant story. Has someone ever shared a story with you and you're like, but what is this about? What has that ever happened to you? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yeah. So you want to share a story with purpose. Okay? Next is let them see, hear, feel, taste, and smell. Like my sister there was talking about the samosa. Just say, let me give you a tester here. Just imagine grabbing a samosa after a long, hard day. It's evening time. You're feeling pangs of hunger chopping onto you. Then as you crunch it with your teeth, you feel the sound sending a vibration of sensations because the spices in this samosa were so delicately chosen and so well prepared. And then the aroma that fills your senses through the nose, you're like, ooh, this is going to be a good samosa. And that's the experience we have, because I remember Joan grabbing onto such a samosa and said, wow, when I bite this, just one samosa, it's as if I've had a full meal. And it's a full meal because the way we choose our spices, we look for the most nutritious, the most impeccable, and organic stuff. That's what we put into our samosa. And when you take it, then you know that the taste will live for the taste of the evening. And add on a cup of tea, then you've had a real delicate evening tea marked by the samosa that is legendary. And that's what we bring to you. Thank you. So, did anyone feel themselves munching on a samosa? Did you feel the smell? So that's what we mean by story. You make them see, hear, feel, taste. Then that's what, it's like you're creating a movie experience. When you're telling a story, think about it as a movie experience. Because you do not have the advantage of cinematography. I mean, Nicholas there at the back, by the way, is studying film, and he's a cinematographer. So he can combine images and pictures and create stuff. Okay, you can talk to him after here if you so wish to engage him. But you and I don't have the skill sets that he has. And when you're in front of someone, even if you have it somewhere, even if you have a clip somewhere, you may not say, hey, by the way, let me show you. By the way, have you ever had a clip and you attempt to switch on the phone, it fails? Has that ever happened to you? Okay, it was working, and then I wanted to show you. Now, I want you to learn to share even without images. That's how you make them, you use the senses. Next, emotions you want to evoke. So when you're going to tell a story, you want to ask you, what emotions do I want to engineer in people? What do I want them to feel? For example, when you're selling a samosa, I want them to feel excited about it. Just moments ago, there's a lady who was selling to us that the event which is happening on Friday, the band, the arena band here at Royal Suites Bugolobi. And then, so she made us, like go to the event. Last week there was corporates and there were MDs, judges, the music is nice, the food, the barbecue. And then we're like, we are actually, the two of us are interested already in going there. So she took us there. So she excited us. So sometimes you want to create excitement. Sometimes you want to create comfort. Sometimes you want to create trust. So, okay, if I want you people to trust this product, what can I share? When Peter was sharing about saying, oh, I have one of the best chefs in the country. And then he said, we're like, are you sure? I'm sure some of us were like, are you sure? How many of us felt like that because you're like, are you sure? Just be honest. Just be honest. How many of us, when he said best chef, just put up your hand straight. And look around the room, Peter. Okay, good. And then he went ahead and said, oh, and by the way, let me tell you why. He was, was the sick, like, used to work at Serena, used to train the chefs there. How many of us, after hearing that, are like, okay, now I believe he's one of the best? How many of you, by show of hands? There you go. So I'm giving you the formula, ladies and gentlemen. When you share something, back it up. So you say, he knew that there would be an emotion of doubt because it's a big claim. So any claim, please write this one down. Any claim you make, back it up with evidence. Any claim you make, back it up with evidence. Because they are not going to. So Andrew, have you shared the link with them? Okay. So you say what's the word? Any claim you make, back it up with evidence. Because people are not going to buy if they don't trust you. They don't trust you. So in your story, always add something to engineer an emotion of trust or believability. Because if they don't believe, they won't buy. And then finally, first personal stories should be your priorities. I missed the word be there. Should be your priority. So when it's a personal story, people believe you more. Or it's more interesting. But when you're sharing a story about someone else, it's not as exciting. Not that it is never exciting. What I'm saying is, when it's your story, it is more engaging. Hello? It is more what? Engaging. And that's what you want. Sharing personal. Went through this and this and this and this, okay? So before I start sharing with you the storytelling templates, is that clear? Have I convinced you that it's useful to share? Have I convinced you on the value of storytelling? Yes or no? Okay, good. And by the way, did you notice that I sold you on the value of storytelling by telling stories at the beginning? Do you remember that? Yes or no? I'm not hearing you. Yes or no? Did you remember me sharing stories to communicate the power of stories? Okay. So now let's talk about the storytelling templates for a product, brand, or service. This, write down the guy calls Roy Farr, then F-U-R-R. I like how he simplified storytelling in 5 forms, and that's going to be the core of this engagement, Roy Farr. So there are 5 templates. This is what they call 5-story templates or forms. One is what they call the conspiracy story, the orphan story, backstory, I saw the light story, and then amazing discovery story. So those are the 5 stories. They are not the only stories you can tell. These are the ones that Roy communicates. Now, these stories, please remember, if you really, whatever I'm going to share with you, please remember it has to go back to this formula I shared with you earlier. Those 4 components. Just make sure those 4 components are there. If those 4 components are missing, then your story won't be as powerful. If those 4 components that I mentioned earlier, purpose and direction, let them see, hear, feel, taste, and smell, know the emotions you want to evoke, and then first personal stories. If you mix that up with the 5 templates, then you're going to have lots of value. Okay, cool. Now let's start with the conspiracy story. Okay, conspiracy story. This is how it goes. Number 1, you have a certain problem, but then you haven't solved it yet. Okay. We've all had moments where you have a problem, but you haven't solved it yet. And then you discover that it's not your fault. That here you're sharing the story. Then later discover that it's not my fault. And then only to discover that there are some hidden forces that are holding you back. Okay. I'll give you a certain example. And then they actually benefit from you not solving the problem. And by the way, this is true. There are certain industries whereby you not solving the problem, they're able to benefit from a certain problem. And then say, but I'm on your side. And I've identified the real solution, and this is how. And this is why I'm sharing it with you now. For example, it could be, I had this other skin problem, which was really causing lots of tension in my skin, and my skin was cracking and all that. Then I discovered that, it wasn't just actually me, because after going from pharmacy to pharmacy, still I couldn't find a solution in all the pharmacies. And it's because there was something, they felt that if I discovered that if the skin problem was totally solved, then there wouldn't be a need for me to keep going to the pharmacies. So I said, you know what? There must be a herbal solution. And I dug around and found this herbal solution, and bingo, my skin problem was solved. And within 30 days, my skin was clear for a problem I had struggled with for 13 years. And that's what I want to share with you. Now, if you had a skin problem and someone shared that, and you've been to pharmacies and you haven't gone, would you listen? Yes or no? I'm asking, yes or no? Good. And by the way, are there some of us who have come across such solutions before? Or you could be even having a solution here? Have you ever had someone having such a solution, a unique solution? Yes or no? Okay, at least in the herbal field, in the alternative medicine field, that's a common story. Then there's the orphan story. The orphan story, and by the way, as I'm sharing these stories with you, then you need to ask, okay, which template would work for me best in terms of my product or service? Because not all the 5 are going to be relevant to you, and that's fine. So that's why I'm giving you different options. And then you choose or pick one that works for you best. The other one is the orphan story. It goes like this. I had this problem. Then I needed a solution. Okay. So, Nicholas, are we able to get from here? Yeah, because I want to change and stay here. I needed a solution, but I couldn't find anybody to help, meaning you literally feel orphaned. Okay? By the way, I'm an orphan, so it's not like I'm laughing about orphans, in case you're one. I lost my mom when I was 9, lost my dad when I was 17. I couldn't find anybody to help. I felt totally abandoned. Here's what I found or did that turned everything around. I had a problem on how to increase sales. I needed a solution on how I could get people to buy into my products and services and get business in. But I couldn't find anybody to help. And I felt totally abandoned. I felt depressed. I felt alone and stressed out. But then I found out something that changed everything for me in my third year. And here's what I want to share with you, how I turned that around. By the way, if that was a real story, how many of you would be interested to listen more about that? By show of hands. By show of hands. Look around the room. Yeah. So this is a very, very powerful story. So if you have, this is almost like a universal story. If you've had a challenge before and you found a solution, and people have a problem, like now here because you're all business people, that's something I know would sell to all of us. So you find something. So I went through this challenge and then boom, I found a solution, and then here is how I found it. Then people will listen. Are those two stories clear so far? Those two story templates, are they clear so far? Yes or no? And if there's a step that is not clear, so again, please take note, and then we will get time to practice this. Next is the backstory. The backstory is I witnessed something very dark, either personal or internal or firsthand, that spoke. I turned inside and asked what I could do. Even though I felt small, like I couldn't do much, I felt I could do this one thing. Now, that one thing has snowballed, and I can help you. For example, it could be, I noticed, let's just suppose you notice that lots of people are struggling with a certain, let's just suppose you're going to the village out there where women out there in the villages are struggling with the costs of pads, because I know we have someone dealing with pads here. Said reusable pads? Yeah, so I don't know the story, but just imagine you're a woman out there in the village, you find that the typical pads is they're expensive to buy. So you say, I noticed when I went to the village of my grandmother, I noticed women were struggling with their pads. They didn't have enough money. And I could tell the stress on their faces. I turned inside and I asked myself, what could I do with these struggling women? Because, again, I was talking about some of them were my aunties, some of them were my cousins, sisters. I could see the pain. And I turned left, right in the night, and I was like, God, what can I do? But I'm just one person. What can I do? I don't have a lot of money. What can I do? But I said to myself, surely you went to school, you can do something, make research. So I went online, researched, and talked to some people. Then I found that there was a certain technology whereby people don't just have to keep disposing of pads, they can actually reuse them. I was like, wow, this could be amazing. And I discovered that people could spend 10% of what a typical pad costs. I said, so I went into this, and then I discovered how you can spend 10% of what you are spending before on a pad and still be comfortable and clean. I want to share that with you. Or would you want me to share that with you? So if you were a woman in the village with no money around you, is that a story is that a product you want to hear about? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yeah, I'm not hearing you. Yes or no? Yeah. So that's the power of the backstory. So again, you're showing them how you went through the process. Okay. Again, as I'm taking note, please take note of what would you sell. Then the other story is I saw the light story. I saw the light story. So you can say I was a prospect facing the same challenge you faced. Next, I looked all over the place to find an ideal solution. Just when I thought all was lost and I would have to give up, I found it. I went to great lengths to make it available to you. Okay? So, I was an aspiring writer like you. Asking myself, how can I write a story, or how can I put a great story together? So I looked all over the place to find who can help me to put my story together, who can help me to write this story. But just when I thought I was lost and I couldn't write anymore, I didn't know where to turn or where to go, then in that moment, I landed on a 3-step formula on how I could turn all my ideas into amazing stories and write-ups. And I want to share them with you. Now, if you were interested in writing, by the way, any of us interested in writing a book or a story or something like by show of hands? Okay. Now, those of you who have put up your hands, if that was a true story, would you be interested to know more? Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I mean, because this is about business stories that sell. Because then you want to draw people in. Remember, you're not going to sell unless they feel attracted. Because now you're like, oh, this guy has a magic key. Let's go. So if there are people who have a problem or a challenge related to your transformational story, you could call this also a transformational story. You had a transformational experience. You had a challenge and you became a better human being, or you discovered something, and now you're selling that. This is also one of the universal stories you can tell. Okay. Next is the amazing discovery story. I discovered the secret in the strangest of places. At first, I thought it was unique to that situation. But then I tried it and it worked. So now I'm sharing it with the world. Or now I'm happy to share it with you. One time, I was just climbing an avocado tree, just lost for words, listening to the birds sing. And then I was asking myself, could this avocado tree have a secret that could transform people's skins and hair? Because I kept hearing avocado magic, and then I was like, maybe there could be. So I just started getting avocados and mixing them up and coming up with different solutions and testing them on different things and then before long, there was this other lady, she had an issue with her skin and then started applying this particular solution, and the first week something was not working, but in the second week she started coming, she knocked on my door and said, John, you can't believe, look at my skin. And then I was like, oh, wow. We even took a picture. In fact, here is the before and after picture. It's amazing. Look at how she was grumpy here. Now she's smiling. And now I want to share with you how this strange secretive formula of avocado has something that is getting the pharmacies worried. But do you want me to tell you more? Someone saying yes. Yeah, they would want to know more. Okay, so of those 5 templates, before I tell you now how do you close the deal, of those 5 templates, which one would work for you best? So just check in your notebook, or you can share. Which one would work best for you, or which one do you see would sell for you? Andrew. So of those 5, which one would sell? Which one speaks to you the most? Yes. The orphan story. Anyone else? Amazing discovery. Yeah. I can imagine you using your energy, communicating that discovery indeed. Anyone else? Yes, please. the backstory, okay, how everything. Okay, good. No one else? No one who has a different story template that works for you? Okay. So, yeah, I saw the light. Absolutely. Great. So, so this is what we're going to do. I would like you to, so now once you know the story, then of course you need to close the deal. Okay. Once you've drawn them in, because these stories, like you've noticed from Roy Fights, they are really about drawing the person in to feel so interested and excited about the product or service. But then once that happens, then what? Okay. Any one of us, do you want me to answer that question? Yes or no? Yes or yes? I'm not hearing you. Come on. Okay. So once you've drawn them in, then you need to go to what I call closing the deal. Okay. So now you've drawn them in. They have known and liked you. And you need to share, by the way, these. Remember, share as much detail as possible, of course, depending on the time. There are moments where you find you don't have time. There are moments where you may have a lot of time. So in those contexts, utilize the opportunity. Share as much as possible, because then you don't know how much and how far you can go. So as much as possible, engage. Share them the detail, what you went through, what inspired you. By the way, I forgot to add the other thing when you're telling stories. Share, what was the debate going on in your head? What was the debate going on in your head? See, I was telling to myself, I was talking to myself, and then I was like, is this for real? And then another part of me was like, no, yes. So what was the debate going on? Because I'll tell you, for example, this particular event, and I was like, okay, then should we just do it online? Because if we take it physical there, we have to spend a lot more money. What if people don't come? What if there are no people appearing there? And I'll tell you, when I came in at 2 o'clock, it was just me and Andrew, and we're like, and it's already 2. And they were like, this. And I'm like, okay, this guy's invested, but they have set up. The place looks beautiful, isn't it? Let's give them a hand, by the way. The place looks beautiful. And in my head, I was like, this guy's they have put in effort there. And I'm not seeing God. I'm like, God, bring the people, please. Please bring the people. Then, please bring the people. Those who are supposed to come, please bring them. And then there was, is it you who came in first? So Glenn came in first. I'm like, okay, hallelujah, that's a sign, okay? Just like waiting for rain to come, and there's a desert, and then a drop comes. You're like, hello, at least there is a drop. Ooh, like you want to lick it. So then before long, other people kept trickling in, and then we're like, okay, here they are, and they're ordering stuff, and I like that. So then I'm like, okay, now my partner will take me serious. Give yourselves a hand, by the way, for coming live, because also, apart from the fact that we have a partner, it would be weird for me to, I can't talk to empty chairs. But the other excuse I had in mind was like, at least we're going to do live streaming. Even if, at least let them focus it on me, at least, even if there are no people there. But then when you come and I'm seeing the smiles, the engagement, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's cool. So that's what I was going through. So how many of you now were like, how many of you felt drawn in when I was explaining that? What was going on in my head? Were you feeling me? Were you seeing what I was going? Yeah. Were you paying attention? Yes or no? Yeah, because now I'm taking you. I brought you from whatever was going in your head into what was in my head. Are we together? That's the power of storytelling. So if you can, what is the dialogue? The inner dialogue. So write this one. These two down. Inner dialogue, and which I would call intra-dialogue. It's within you, the debate you're having in your head. And then the other one is the dialogue, the dialogue with another person. Oh, he said this, and then I said this. And then I said, but are you sure? And then he said, yeah, I am really sure. So you can even change the tones. She said, Daddy, like when I'm talking about my dad, I'm like, Daddy, are you going to come? Like, yeah, sure, I'm going to come. Like, Daddy, but are you sure you'll take me this time around? Last time? Like, yeah, sure, sweetheart, I will take you. You see how I'm debating? So I'm able to take you into the tone of my daughter and then my own tone. Are you following? So you need to create that drama, that tension. Then you're able to see my daughter, and you're also able to see me, the conversation I was having. So when you're telling a story, if you can also engage that dialogue, these are things that have taken me years to learn. In fact, one of the guys I learned from is has been in Hollywood teaching for over 35 years, and Will Smith is one of the clients. So that's what it has taken me to learn some of these techniques and skill sets. Powerful stuff. So now let's talk about closing the deal. When it comes to closing the deal, now that you've told them the story, it's okay. Now, this is what's all about. This is what you get. You'll get. So you have already shared? Okay. So Andrew has shared the link on WhatsApp, so you can share with your colleagues to tune in. Of course, I know we are about to finish, but again, even the little they will get will be valuable. So share the link. They can tune in. They can follow live. Is that a YouTube? Link? Huh? It's Facebook and YouTube. Okay. So share YouTube first, because especially since you're Uganda. Okay. So that has been shared with you. Okay. So giving you 30 seconds to share that. Then you can share it in your group, whatever it is. Say, I'm attending a transformational event at live at Royal Suites Bugalo but you can follow along online here on this link. Okay. All right. So, is this valuable so far, by the way? Yes or no? There you can tell me straight no. Is it valuable? Is it relevant? Okay. Is it practical? Okay, cool. So by the way, when it comes to communication, in my view, when I'm teaching people like public speaking, storytelling is one of the things I teach. In my view, it is the most powerful tool to persuade people, because then people's guards are down. But when you're just engaging logic, they're like, you're engaging A, they're like, no, B. You say C, they're like D. But have you noticed there are some characters whose job is to just disagree with everything? Are those characters, they are there in life. But they are not going to argue with your personal story. It happened to you, period. You can't argue with, say, how I shared my New York story of getting someone to fund me. They can't. It is mine. Hello? It is whose? It is yours. It's all raw, it's authentic, it's undeniable, it is irrefutable. That's what makes storytelling powerful, especially when it's a personal story. So you can find a way to influence people skillfully. Okay, there's less resistance. So I remember my daughter was struggling with something, and then I started sharing a story, and then I started using a story of a certain girl. I said, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But if you tell her, do this, like, no. No, they may not even say no. They're like, why? Yes, sir. I need to remember. No, let me see. No, it was a true story, because I've remembered it was a story about me and my dad, about something. It was related to mathematics. And then she said, at one time she asked me, but Dad, you keep telling me about stories about you and Dad and your dad. Like, yeah, I want to share stories of how when I was young, just like you. So she's that persistent. You don't just push her around. And I've given her the freedom to challenge me or to question. Some of us, I'm sure, have grown up in families where you couldn't ask your dad. They could like, no. Like, when you before you know it, chiboko. So my daughters, I'm teaching them to ask questions. So I remember that. So that's a good question. So tell them, okay, assuming you're selling avocado, or samosa, say this is what it's all about. You get a tin, it's these meals, it has these ingredients, and then it will last you for 30 days. This is what you get. Next is, and this is how you can get it. How you can get it, because sometimes, have you ever been interested in buying something, and then, or you see it online, and like, but I want to buy this thing. How do I get it? Has that ever happened to you? Yes or no? Yes, it has happened to me a couple of times. So say, this is what you get, and this is how you can get it. Just send mobile money, or do this thing, and then or send a check, or go to this shop, and then you'll be able to get the product. So this is what you get, and this is how you can get it. or you pay 20,000. These are the different options on how you can pay the 20,000. It can be by mobile money, you can use a check, you can use this. Because then you want to spell out things clearly and plainly, okay, without missing anything. Next, you say, use stories to handle objections. This is one of my favorite tricks, to use stories to close deals. Are you ready? This is a ninja technique, I swear to you. Please listen carefully. You can use stories to handle objections. So, for example, like in my field, some people say, it's too much money. Anyone who has received that story, that objection? That's too expensive. Anyone? By show of hands, who has received that objection? Okay, all the time I can hear you. Yeah. So you say, so people have said that. Then I'll say, one time I was sharing this, and I even sometimes bring it up front. Sometimes people say, this is too expensive. And I recall one time there was this professor. I told her how much I was going to charge, and she paid the $5,000 for coaching, and we started working together. Within the second month, she shared a story and said, "You know what, Ethan? Even if I had $1 million, even if I had paid you $1 million, it would be worth it." This is someone who at the beginning was saying that was too much. What that told me is that, look, sometimes what we consider to be too expensive is really too tiny compared to the benefits you get, because the benefits are priceless. Now, does that work always? No. But you notice, I'm not saying, no, it is not expensive. You see, let me give you the cost-benefit analysis. Now, when you draw a line here, like, cost-benefit analysis, what is that? But you see, again, they cannot argue with the story of the prophet. By the way, that's a true story. Okay? Let's use the avocado story, for example, your product. Some people say when you give them the avocado product, they say they are too expensive. And there's this other lady, she said too expensive because it was, your product is how much? Or give me the most expensive one, but high quality. Hey, how much? 80,000. Okay, let's go with that. What does it do? Here. Quickly, but yeah, just go sit though. Just
yes.
Go sit
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Yes.
Yes.
This is a Lavado edible avocado oil.
Yeah.
It has monounsaturated fat, which is the best fat for your heart.
Okay.
It contains antioxidants, and it has anti-inflammatory compounds that will help fight free radicals in your skin that actually cause cancer. It is also filled with vitamin E, which is going to help your skin, vitamin E and K, which helps with your sight and helps your body glow.
Okay, cool, good. And is that oil for cooking or for applying on your body? What's that? That oil?
Yeah, the perfect bit about this oil is cold pressed. You can use it for both for cooking and on your skin.
And your skin?
On your skin, yes.
Okay, good. So some of the competing products, how much is it in terms of pricing? How cheap?
The most immediate competitor is
without mentioning the name.
Is olive oil.
Okay.
The beauty of the most advantage with the avocado oil is it has a higher smoke point compared to the olive oil, and you're going to find a liter of olive oil at 60,000.
Okay, cool. All right, I love olive oil, so let me not use olive oil as an example. But let's just use another example, because it has lots of benefits. Also olive oil. Just it. So let's use that as an example. Say, and someone, he came to me, he was struggling with his skin, and I told him 80,000. I know that's a lot of money. I know of another product. It's just 40,000. I said, okay. So he went, use this other 40,000. 2 months later, nothing had changed. He said, maybe I should try that other thing of yours. So he came and tried, he used our oil. Within 3 weeks, the skin had started clearing. And then he came to me and said, I wish I had made a decision earlier. Now, instead of spending 120,000, I would have spent just 80,000. So, and therefore, sometimes it's not just as sometimes cheap things end up being too costly. By the way, that's not a clever line. It's real. Have you ever tried something cheaper and then you're like, I wish. No? I swear to you, there's a time, my village is in Ibanda, so sometimes getting taxis there can be a challenge. So my brother, we are going for a burial. So my brother and my wife also came along and we were going, and then they're like, no, let's pay extra, and we have our own car. There are those cars, they get like a wish, and they park people like sardines, like 12 of them, and you're like, have you ever seen those cars? Eh? Like they park like 12 of them in the same car. Like, hey. So I was like, you know what? Let's have our own space and all this stuff. So when we were going, they bought the idea. When we were coming back, they said, no, let's, let's get in some other people. And then I remember a box fell on my head. I was like, no, you see, these things end up being expensive. So for me, that's very important. Yeah. So a cheap thing ended up being expensive. Okay. Finally, end your close with a story if possible. Start with emotion, close with emotion. So start with a story and close with a story. It's always very powerful. Okay. Say, by the way, before you take this, let me share with you this other story. Just let me share with you one final story. In that 3 months ago, we received an email of this 19-year-old girl who was always criticized and laughed at school. She was literally being depressed by using our oil, our avocado oil. After her skin clearing and smiling, she says now she can concentrate at school. She's happier, she's smiling. She now lives a happy, normal life. And my friend, if this could transform a 19-year-old girl, imagine what it can do for you. So already I'm using another hard story to close the deal. Okay? Good. Is that useful? Fantastic. So get to paper, just scratch. If you're watching live, choose one of the templates that we've used. Just craft your own story now. Repackage the same story you shared earlier. That's what you're going to repackage now. Go ahead. Right now in your notebook, I'm just giving you 1 minute. Craft your own story based on what you've had me share. And then you're going to sell to your colleague again. Okay? Share your story now. So use 1 minute. If you're watching online, use what you've been hearing or learning in terms of, okay, what story template are you going to use? And then craft your story. But let me tell you the easiest, if I was to give you the easiest template, it is, this happened, this was the problem that I had, this is the solution that I came up with, and this is the impact, and this is what I'm sharing with you, okay? This was the situation I found myself in. This is the negative impact it had on me, okay? This is the solution I found, and this is how it can help you, okay? So if I was to break it down, if I was to summarize all the 5 templates and I was to give you one, that would be it. This was happening in my life, and then this was the turning point. This is the challenge I went through. This is what I went through to find a solution. And here is the solution for you. And then you go through these other steps. This is what you get if you buy. This is what it will do for you. And this is how you can order for it. Okay? Is that helpful? If I summarize it that way, yes or no? Okay, because I know some of us could be confused now of the 5 templates. Which one should I use? Is it conspiracy, backstory? Is it? So I saw the light, amazing story. What is it? So use those, and then we take it from there. You have a question? Okay, please give him the mic. The rest of us craft your story, and then you're going to practice.
Thank you so much.
And the samosa story, the samosa lady, you're going to come and share your samosa story now that you know what I've shared with you. Yes.
Thank you so much. May just have a comment about storytelling, whereby sometimes it may require...
A comment about?
A comment about storytelling.
Yes.
Whereby sometimes you may need to spend more time than maybe the same time that has been given to you. And sometimes the moderator may tell you, please, straight to the point. Won't it be like sometimes when you're thinking into an idea of storytelling, you need more time than the actual time that maybe you are given to?
Okay, so great point. So this is what I propose. When you're coming up with a story, you need to come up with different scenarios. If you have 10 minutes, this is how you craft it. If you have 5 minutes, this is how you do it. If you have 1 minute, this is what you do. If you have 30 seconds, this is how you tell it. So you pick out the most crucial or the most critical. So you have to speak depending on the different contexts. So like my backstory, I can use 30 minutes to share my story. But I can also bring it down to 10, to 5, to 2, to 1 minute. So, and I'm not going to tell you, okay, pull this. So you use your mind and say, okay, what are the most critical components that I need to pull out? Okay, is that helpful? Okay, cool. Right, 10 seconds for you to finish, and then you share your story. For some of us who are online, please go ahead, share what have you picked from this experience. Comment, share this link or this video with others, because then they'll watch the recording. Let me know what you found most useful, and then share this link with other people, or share this video with other people, because I'm sure they'll find lots of value on how to tell amazing stories that sell. Okay? So, the rest of us who are here live, so if you are watching live, just go ahead. For some of us who are here attending, please, let's go back into our groups of threes. You still need more time to prepare? Yes or no? Okay. Do you want to go first, or you want to go later? Okay. So first share. So let's go. Let's get up. Do you need more time to finish preparing, or you're ready? Are you ready? Hey, until now the story template. What? Now, as you think about, so please go ahead. What did you find? By the way, turn to your immediate neighbor. I forgot before we even move into the exercise. What did you find most useful in this presentation, and what are you going to do differently moving forward? Okay, I want you to share that. If you, so those are my contacts, and you can follow my YouTube channel. You can go to succeedingdaily.com if you need human resource consulting service. You can go Succeeding Daily. Let me see if my man Nicholas can get that, such that you see some of us who are online. If you need coaching or human resource consulting, you go to success-africa.com. And if you need coaching, those are my numbers there. It could be on public speaking, it could be executive communication skills, it could be life and career development. It could be that you want me to help you prepare your pitch or story, by the way. If you want to invest in us helping you to prepare your pitch or your story, you can leave your contacts with Andrew, and then we can follow up and have that conversation around that. And then coaching, we can talk about, you can go to ethanmusolini.com/coaching, where there you'll be able to get all the services I offer. It could be public speaking, could be career transition, oral interview success, personal and career development. It could be, those are the numbers. So if you go to that link, then you'll be able to get the different coaching services. But for us as entrepreneurs, I'm sure you have a business story you want to craft. It could be that you want me to prepare just to speak, talk about it. It could even be that you want us to produce a video for you. I have a team that could help you to do that. And have online programs on rapid and personal success, negotiation skills. Have a 90-day sales challenge where I told you we did 90-day sessions between 5 to 15 minutes. That's, in case you're interested in that, it's online. Then you get access to materials. I have a full program on what I call executive communication system. Nicholas, you're capturing that? Yeah. Okay. So this has 3 components. There's the mini communications, macro communications, and macro communication. This is for business owners, or if you are an executive or a senior leader, this is a powerful program. And under stage 1, which is the mini level communications, we look at things like emotional intelligence for executives. We look at business and social etiquette. How should you conduct yourself? Conflict situation communication. You know, how do you communicate amidst tense moments or situations? Then on stage 2, we look at micro level. We look at meetings that get results, because how do you run meetings, whether as a business owner or as an executive? We look at giving and receiving challenging feedback, because how you give or receive feedback is going to impact you or yourself and the team. How do you disagree smoothly? Because I've noticed there are some people who are too blunt that they speak their truth, but they lose their relationships. Then there are those who are like, I would rather keep the relationship, but then one day they blow up. Stuff keeps piling up. They are not speaking their truth. So I came up with a model whereby you can speak your truth, but also keep the relationship. It's what I call the middle way. Then the third component is macro communications. How do you enroll teams in your vision? Then we talk about change communications, and then public speaking. But then public speaking has its own 8 components. Public speaking, we look at things like how do you prepare and craft a winning speech. And by the way, we have a training coming up in January 11th to 13th. If you want more information about that, please talk to Andrew. We'll talk about, it will be here at Royal Suites Bugolobi for 3 days and then 8 weeks of follow-up training. We talk about mastering fear nerves, how do you captivate an audience. I was talking about how to keep people engaged. We have a full module on that. How do you arouse people to action and your way of thinking. We also look at how do you become more credible before and during your speech. We look at how do you become more likable before and during your speech. We also look at how to respond to questions like a pro, then storytelling. Storytelling, today we're talking about selling a product or service, but then we also talk about your personal brand. How do you tell a story about your personal brand? Then there's a public speaking summit coming up. 11th, 13th, the phone numbers are there. It's really 2 million. I changed. I decided to leave out the 3 and 4 million packages. Success Africa. These are some of the trainings we do at Success Africa. Team building, leadership and management, communication, change management, personal care, stress management, organizational development, motivational talks. Then we have products and services you can find here, or you can get digital copies for some of us who are online. So that's also cool and good for you. And yeah, thank you. All right, so for some of us who are here, please go into groups of threes again. Let's get up. I don't expect you to go with your notebook. The story should be in your head. Please, let's go back. Let's go back in our 3 groups. Let's get up. Let's get up. Let's get up. Let's get up. Groups of threes. And by the way, I forgot to mention, please go to Succeeding Daily. It's a useful resource for you. I have there are 50 training programs there. I was planning to sell them for $1,000, and God told me to give everything away for free. It's on personal and career development. So it's about 50 hours of training. Please go check them out. And if you want to get on my email list, please, I would highly, highly encourage you to do this before you leave. You go to ethanmusolini.com/live. ethanmusolini.com/live. Then you'll be able to get communications from me in terms of events that I do. That's something I highly encourage all of us to do like now. Actually, if I were you, I would log in now. So ethanmusolini.com/. You see that way, instead of coaching, just put live. Are you seeing the website at the top? But then instead of coaching, type in the word live or leave. Okay? Okay? Because my daughters were like, hey, ethanmusolini.com/leave. I thought you are alive. So it's live. Okay? Please, all of us, let's log in now. Then you get on the list. Then that way, anytime I have an event, because every Thursday I typically run a free event and all this. But I have different coaching packages. I also do group coaching. On Mondays, we talk it's personal and career development. Tuesdays, it's executive communication. Wednesdays, we focus purely on public speaking. So if that's of interest to you, also let me know. And then Thursdays, I do a free talk, a free session on personal and career development. So Thursday is free, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, those are paid events if you want to know more about all these packages. Okay? Good. So ethanmusolini.com/live. Those of you who are watching live, if you want to get on the list, go to ethanmusolini.com/live. Okay, so now go ahead and then some of us, so go ahead, groups of threes. Now you're going to sell your product or service. You're going to close the deal now. Ideally, if you can talk to people who were there before, whom you talked to prior, so that we can compare and contrast. The people you spoke to at first, some of us came later. But if you spoke to 3 people that you are selling to earlier, those are the 3 people I want you. Those are the 2 people I want you to talk to. Okay? Let's get up. Let's get up. Sell your story. Oh, one extra tip for you. When you're sharing your story, be passionate. Show interest. Share it as if you're going to be paid $1 million if they win. If you don't show passion, people won't buy your story. So please be excited about your story. Be so keen about your story. Speak with energy. Speak like you might be paid between $1 million to $10 million. Speak with energy. Otherwise, your story won't sell. Thirty seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Andrew. Okay, good. Fantastic. Hey, okay, good. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1, 0. Time up. Fantastic. Okay, great. Uh-huh. Great, fantastic. Thank your partner, give them high fives. Have you noticed that people don't want to leave? People are now captivating your attention that you don't want them to finish. Yeah? Okay. Peperere. Not pepere. You may not be able to understand the peperere. Okay, great. Question. Was this second round better than the first round? Yes or no? Yes or no? Give yourselves a hand. Give yourselves a hand. I know we have a lecturer here who is running, and I wanted us to take a group photo, then I can be here to answer to just for a minute or so. And there are some books, CDs, and DVDs here. Please first come for a group picture, and then come pause, come do some pause. So you can direct us on how to get a good picture here. And then a closer one, Andrew, without the lights. Yes, now you can.
Good evening. So, just after a long day and you feel tired, you really can't, you're tired and like you really want to find something fast, yeah, and portable and healthy. We bring you healthy samosas of different recipes and different ingredients and flavors. We have potato flavors, cumin flavors, chicken, peas, and you can eat these samosas with, you can accompany them with tea or a soft drink or water, and they're healthy. So you can grab one snack for you, and it's just a palm size. That's how big it is. Some are crunchy, some are just smooth, others are tasty. At 1,000 each. Yes.
Yes, good evening to you people. My name is Justin Nansobuga, a lady plumber. I got into this while I thought it would be good for ladies to know that we can do plumbing. I imagine a home that is so sweet to stay in, and while we need a place to ease and become more comfortable, we are unable to because we don't trust our places. So that's when we came in and see that we can do better as women to have a clean environment in our safe places, in our kitchen, whereby we are able to do plumbing from the external pipework, we are able to do the internal pipework, we are able to do the installation of the appliances. So after all that is done, we also do the maintenance, repairs and maintenance of our bathrooms. If I'm to be very clear, we do the repairs and maintenance of the bathroom. Again, to say it better, we as women in plumbing, women plumbers, we do this as ladies. We thought that we need a team that is more of women. When we have a team of 10 at a site, we expect only 2 gentlemen to help us, because we need to do this as women in a clean environment.
What inspired you? Because this has been predominantly it's been a men's job, so to speak. What was the trigger? As a woman, why can't I become a plumber? For you, what's your story there?
Okay, the story is in 2021. Yes, early after COVID.
Share with them.
Yes. After COVID, we had opened up a plumbing shop, and we're doing sales. And there I would be there because I wasn't working. We are off duty. I could not work, but I thought I had to do something. I could not sit at home, but the president had already opened up a few institutions to be working. So I realized we had to do the plumbing. That's what interested me before. And then as customers came into the shop, they would ask for example, a tap, a normal tap for water. Then later on, they're asking you for a plumber to help out. So that came in more often. And usually when I would relate to the plumbers that we had then, they were not at their, I felt I was challenged and I needed to do better. So there's one gentleman, he's also a plumber, that I opened up to him, and I thought I needed to be part of the journey in plumbing because people were complaining a lot about men's work. Please don't quote me. Do not. They were not very good at their work. So when I opened up to him, he was very free, and he said we can go to the sites together. So I started learning from there, and currently I'm finishing my DIT course to be a certified plumber.
What is DIT?
It's an industrial training certificate that you get to know that you are now good in your profession.
Certified plumber. By me asking that question, did it provide better, if you're a customer, would you be more interested than what she was doing? Because earlier she was like, we do this, anyone can say that, yes? But not everyone has your story. Are you getting what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, we get drawn into just say, hey, you get this, you do this, you do this, you do no, the usual. But it's your story. One time I was frustrated that clients would come to me and then they're asking, oh, where's the plumber? And then I found myself helpless. I was like, I need to do something. If a plumber is not there, why can't I be there? Why am I just only looking at myself as a lady? Yet I also have hands. I said, something has to change. Boom. Someone's like, eh? She told me lady plumber. I was like, eh, I've never met a lady plumber. Come. Let's give her a hand. Please.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, please keep your story short and let's stay away from the line of the... Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Lavado Queen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
My name is Daphne from Lavado. I have this Lavado White laundry bar soap for you. Now, growing up, we used to use washing soap or laundry soap for everything. Bathing, washing, dishes, and clothes. Being an entrepreneur, we innovated the Lavado White laundry bar soap, such that people like me in this day can have the privilege to use the same, but with soothing properties that can help your body feel fresh all day, and yet it's gentle on your hands. And guess what? You can use the same for your laundry, your dishes, but with better properties. And the day is saved. Thank you.
All right, let's give her a hand. Fantastic. Lavado, good. I like the fact that it was short. Good. And now more people want to share their stories. I like that.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Nasuri Ovia, and I'm the CEO of Ovia Interiors. We basically deal in furniture and curtains, and my idea started well back in year one when my friend, she's here, all thanks to her, she initiated me in this idea of a closet. And I realized that students were keeping their clothes in the roundy baskets, in their bags, and this wasn't good. So I started supplying clothes to different students, and this I loved the idea of interior designing, and I went into specifically furniture. And also I realized that people have sofas at their homes, and some would want to do a repair for their sofas, but they don't know that we, the people in the furniture industry, can do that. And every customer of mine, when I deliver a sofa or anything, I tell them the services that we do, and those are some of the services that we do. We have the best quality products. If you want that comfortable sofa, if you want that closet, that wardrobe, we are here to serve you. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Fantastic. By the way, when you're also selling, remember to add a call to action. If you want, you can go to ovidiainteriors.com, or you can call this number +25677 Ethan, blah, blah, blah. Something like that. So what do you want them to do? Send an email to this. How do you want people to order? Final story. Let's welcome Miss who? Rita. Let's welcome Rita. I attempted to sound a little, Rita. Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rita from Masha Herald.
Mic closer to the mouth.
Masha Herald. So you have been to an event, you do not know a place, you're just a guest, but you have that discomfort. So imagine yourself as the host of that event. You go back when at the end of the day your friends and your guests are complaining. They didn't have a good time because they got lost on their ways to the loose on everything. So we as Mashak Heralds, we come to help you and give your guests a feel of comfort, of home, that belonging in a place that they have never been before. So we have services we do. We have ushering, ticketing, and very many other services that I would not finish today. But you can always follow us up on our social media handles. The same names, Masha Herald, Instagram. And at the end of this, we're going to share with you our different flyers so that you're able to follow us and contact us for all all those services.
Good. What's the backstory of your organization? What's the backstory? How did you end up with this idea?
The backstory, as remember, it's solely for like the employees are campus students. Yes, they want that quick money, but they cannot always have a way to get it, because some people, unfortunately, do not have parents or people to actually help them pitch that money.
Yeah.
So we as Masha Heralds give them that opportunity to work and get that money and provide for their very own need.
So was it that you just said, okay, how can we make ourselves useful to Pirate Campus, or you saw an actual need and then you say, okay, I could provide a service around that? What's the actual story?
The actual story is we want to actually give people that comfort. So
Yeah, but
the
what
need-
triggered that? What triggered that? Did you sit in someone's chair that was uncomfortable? What happened?
like I said when I started, I said we have been to an event that you are invited.
Yeah,
and
which
in the
event was
village-
that? Which event was that?
A wedding ceremony
Where? And when was that?
where it was in Pakwach district
Okay,
earlier this year around June.
June.
Yes.
Okay, what happened?
So I was in that place.
Okay,
You have a problem of the language.
yeah. Don't you have?
Okay.
Tell us first person. What happened to you?
So yes, I was at that event.
Yeah.
I do not know the local language there.
Yeah.
So I have to ask for help.
Not I
because-
have. You had.
Okay, I needed to access the loos.
Yeah.
But I couldn't access them because the nearest person couldn't understand what I was speaking.
Yeah.
So I had to actually return to where I was, and the person I was supposed to ask help from was actually the owner of the day. So it looks discomforting for me to go and say to the bride, this way, can I help?
What did you tell yourself in that moment after all that case? What was going on in your head?
In my head, I was saying, I wish I didn't come.
Okay.
That was the basic thing ringing in my head.
And
like,
how
I
did you
wish-
feel? How did you feel?
Very devastated, very awful.
Awful.
Yes.
And after that, what did you tell yourself? What did you promise yourself?
I promised that I would not, if I had the ability
Yeah.
to make someone not go through what I went through,
Yeah.
That's how this idea comes about, that I would actually help bridge that gap and give someone that sense of belonging.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you hearing the gold I'm extracting? So let me tell you, let's just assume I'm putting on makeup and I'm wearing and I'm the one to tell, and some high heels, and I'm the one to tell a story. So in June of this year, ladies and gentlemen, I was in Pakwach. I'd gone for a wedding. Time came and I wanted to look for the loose. I was feeling uncomfortable. And then I turned to my neighbor and I spoke in English, and they just looked at me aghast. They're like, as if I was an alien. And I couldn't help myself. I was there struggling. I felt awful. All this discomfort was raging in me. And I was like, oh my goodness. Finally, I used all the might I could to go back to where my next hotel was. And it was still a strange and painful experience. After easing myself at the hotel and sleeping, I said, God, if you can give me an idea and a way, I would make sure that whoever goes to an event, they have a comforting, welcoming, and homely experience. And then the following morning, an idea hit me. What if you actually created a service? Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Masha Carols, where we make sure that your guests have a homely, wonderful, family-like experience. They come smiling, they leave laughing with great memories, because we make it comfortable. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we call business stories that sell. Because then we know. But now I say, you need campus, you need to earn some money. I tell you what, comfort. All that is well and good. That's what you say at the end. But draw us in. Hello? Are we together? Because now it looks like a real, authentic business establishment. The other one was for making money. Now this is real. It's from your heart. Did you even notice her tone changed when she was sharing the story? Do you remember that? So, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like, let me hope and pray that I've added value to your time, because I don't take you spending hours. I mean, we've spent more than 2 hours here with me. So I hope and pray that you use the storytelling. That example that we've used for Marsha Carols, if you get what I've just extracted in that, that is worth all your evening. This is worth all the time. Those of you who are watching online, I appreciate you, hanging in there online. Sometimes you're just alone. Next time, if we have something live, come. These people, have you had some fun? Can you make some noise for some people? Hey! Look at the camera there and say, and make some noise. Hey! Yeah, so those of you who are just online, next time, make sure you come and experience this. Please make a comment. What did you find most useful? Those of you who are watching the recording or live, and please share this. How are you going to apply this? For the rest of us, I hope and pray that you use this to sell your stories. Each one of you has a unique, special story. Sell us in, bring us in, and then you'll close more deals and you'll impact more lives. So may the good Lord bless you. The rest of us, you can go check out ethanmusolini.com. Please sign up on the list. Go to ethanmusolini.com/live. If you want coaching, go to ethanmusolini.com/coaching. If you want human resource consulting, go to success-africa.com, where we do things from human resource, from team building to leadership, communication skills, and the like. Other than that, and then you can follow me on social media. My handle is Ethan Musolini, whether it's LinkedIn or YouTube or Instagram, or just search for my name. You'll be able to get. So may the good Lord bless you, and bye for now. Oh, I forgot to mention that this was in conjunction, in collaboration. So we thank our partners. That is Royal Suites Bugolobi, who have provided us with this space. And we give Royal Suites a huge round of applause. And of course, then this is in respect of the Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is ending tomorrow. So we are partners with Enterprise Uganda. So as Success Africa, we said, let's give something of value to entrepreneurs. And I believe storytelling is one of those most powerful tools you can use to do this. And of course, if you want me to help you to craft and package your story the way you saw me helping this amazing lady to package her story, you can come and we talk, and I help you craft your story in a way that touches and inspires people to take action. So other than that, God bless. Oh, by the way, I appreciate this one. I hope you've stopped recording.